Alright, this will be the video on advanced Java concepts. So, first of all, what we're going to go through is we're going to go through the public versus private identifiers. So, what you can do is you can just say, hey, this is a public void function 2. This one, we're going to make a private double function. So now what we can do is we can create a new class as we've done before. We're just going to call this learning2 because I'm unoriginal. And now what we're going to do is, let's see, we called this function, so let's try learning. This is our class, dot, and then we're just going to make an instance of this class. So I'll explain more about what that has done in a little bit, but we'll make a void function as we did before. And now we can go learning dot, and then we have access to all of these. But as you can see, we do not have access to function. Now, why is that? Because function is private. It is only going to be allowed to be called in this learning class. Function can be called here, but we cannot call function here. You can see it's still green, but it's red because it has private access. What we can do instead, function 2, we can call function 2. And then, as I've shown you before, we can control click on it, it'll show it to us. That's one of those super handy little things. Alright, so that's kind of how private modifiers work. Now, what if we do that to a class? Well, we'll just change this to private real quick. And now, it's gonna get mad because we have it called right here. So, what we're gonna do instead is we're just going to go public because we want to be able to use it in other ways. So next, one of the cool things we can do in Java as well is we can make a constant variable. So we'll make a constant int a is equal to 0. And now you can see it's getting a little bit mad as well. We'll go constant static and final because Java is specific. And it's still mad. What is going on? Alright, I guess I'll explain static first real quick. So, what static does is it lets us access this at any point in any program. So, as you can see, we can go here and we can just say a is equal to 1. And of course, it's gonna get mad because I'm not doing it the right way. But we can call this right here a is equal to 1. There we go. And now you can see a, it's a little bit fuzzy, which is the difference between the static and not, just visually. But there's a different way you can use it because we can go learning dot a. But it's mad now because it's a static. So we will have it referenced back because we're calling class.a because it's a global modifier. So now we have a in every point and in every instance of the class. We physically cannot call it from our variable learning. It just doesn't appear because it's not able to be called then. What we can also do is we can make it a public static int. And now we can go learning.a, and it still won't work just because, hey, we got to call it from the class. Now, if we want to make it private, for instance, now we can see that it has already populated one problem. Well, the problem is that, hey, it has private access. So we'll go ahead and we will make that public. Alright, so that's kind of how how the static works. Now, we could also make these functions static. And now you can already see, hey, we've made a problem. Non-static method function cannot be referenced from a static context. So that's one of the niche things, that static things have to reference other static things. We cannot call something that's in one instance of the class to every instance of the class. instead what we'll do is we'll make this function static. It's going to get mad again because this is not a static. This is not a static. This is not a static. Once we do that, we're good. Now we can go into learning and go learning dot function 2. Or we can go learning dot any of these because now they are all static and in every instance of the class. So one of the best use cases for that is a hardware class, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But you're able to do so much more with static just because it makes sure there's one instance, and it keeps you from being super confused and just very disorganized. So now I'll show you how to make a constant. So what we're going to do is we're just going to click on that constant, which is going to give us this is a constant. So you can see it just made that for me right there. So it doesn't like the constant modifier, but it makes it constant by doing a private static final integer. Basically what this does is you can't change it anymore. So if I go, this is a constant, and let's set it equal to 0. Well, it can't be changed because it's final. If we want to change it, we have to make it not final, but then that defeats the purpose of it being final in the first place. So a really good way you could do this is, in the past we had Vuforia keys, which were just keys to access certain types of memory. But really, for a final, you could say, hey, I have this hardware version, and I'm going to make my hardware version equal to 1.0.0, and that's going to be final, so you don't change it anywhere else in your code. Alright, so now we will get into class construction. So, we'll create another Java class, and we're just going to call this class creation. So, what we're going to do here, we already have a public class creation, okay? So, I'm going to disable GitHub Copilot real quick because it is annoying me right now. What we're going to do is we're going to create, let's see. Okay, the best way to reference this is to go public class car, okay? So, we're going to have a car class. And this is going to get mad because we have a public class, so it needs to be declared in the file named car.java. So we'll move it to that class real quick. So what we're going to do, what can cars do? Cars can have a string, make is equal to, let's go Toyota. And then they can have a string of model is equal to, and let's just go Camry. They can also have an integer year is equal to, let's just say 2019. Now, what else can cars do? Actually, let's not set this to anything yet, so I can show the full process. So we'll have our make, model, and year as our parameters. And now what we're going to do, we can say void vroom. And that's just going to grant vroom. Now, what else can cars do? Cars can, let's see, yeah, they can honk. What else can cars do? Let's say we can drive. All right, so now what we can do is we can make a class Toyota Camry. Toyota Camry extends car. All right, so now this is the fun part, because we can see that, hey, we have this little dot right here. It's showing us that the Toyota Camry extends car. So we can call this from any other sense. So what I'll show you real quick, we're going to go back to class creation and we're going to create a new car. We're going to go car is equal to new car. And I'll tell you why that works in just a second. And then we're going to make another function. We'll just do the main function from Java. And then we can see that, hey, let's go car.make. Why is it mad? Okay, it's because it's not static, which means it's also going to get mad So let's go string make. What is going on? String make is equal to car.make. All right, so we can access that car that we created right here with the make, model, and the year. We can still call car.vroom. Oh my gosh. Okay, and we can still call car.drive. We can still call car.honk. Okay, now what we can also do, we'll make another static, and we're gonna make a Toyota Camry, because that we made right here. There's nothing in that, as you can see. We're gonna go Toyota Camry. Toyota Camry is equal to new Toyota Camry. Now what we're gonna do, Toyota Camry.vroom. And you might ask, well, where did that function come from? Well, because we extend the car class, we can use every class that is in car. So we can use vroom, we can use honk, we can use drive, we can use make, we can use model, we can use year. And instead what we're gonna do is we're gonna say this.make is equal to Toyota. And why is that mad? I'm not sure why that's mad, but we're gonna say change make to Toyota, and then we can make this, hey, we have a Toyota, we have a model, we have a year. And this is different than it is in car, but we still have these three functions that will always be used in this car class. So now what we can do is we can do Toyota Camry, and then let's see what the make is. And then we're gonna have to introduce a local variable again. TC make is equal to this.make, and we can click on it again and we can see that, hey, the make is a Toyota. So in this way, we can make different classes, we can inherit from different classes, and as I'll explain in future videos, we can make, let's say we want to make a hardware config that contains your entire robot. Then you can make an auto hardware config, as you know, some things you might want to make are different in auto than in teleop. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a different constructor. Actually, no, first I'm gonna explain this real quick. So basically when you're creating a variable, we have to create it using the class. So I'll do this real quick. We go class, and then the name, and then we go is equal to a new instance of class name. Basically what this does is it creates a separate instance of that class and allows you to use the methods associated with that class. For instance, if we wanted a double, we go double, oh yeah, let's go pi is equal to 3.141592653. There we go. We have our class, which is double. We have our name. And then this is different because we're setting it exactly to a double value. However, if we did a learning, right? Like we had before, we would do a learning as our variable name is equal to a new instance of learning. And now what we do is we can see that, hey, we have this class right here. We can also do learning2 is equal to new learning. This is completely separate than this, but it has the same code inside of it. All right, so now we're gonna move into constructors for this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this in here, and we're just gonna go string make, model, and year. So we're gonna move it up. It's not gonna change anything really, except now we have to go public class car, and now we're gonna go, sorry about that, string make, string model, integer year. Public, let's see. Okay, So now this is going to get mad because, hey, we haven't done anything in here. So now instead we have a make, model, and year inside of this car. What we're going to do instead is we're going to make just a generic little thing here. I don't know why it deleted it before, but we definitely didn't want to delete that. And then, let's see. Okay, so now we have this. This right here is a constructor. So we can put in different parameters for this, and we can use them however we want in other areas of the code. So basically with this car, we're going to go this.make is equal to make. Basically what this does, this is the class. So this will refer to car. Then we go this.make, which is going to refer to this make, is equal to make, which is here. So as you can see, if we go here and we go make 2, now it's going to get mad because it's circular, but we can go make 2. These are both highlighted the same color. Next, what we're going to do, I'm just going to let that auto-complete for me. This.model and this.year is equal to year. So now, what we can do is, instead of using it this way, what instead we'll do is car, and then we will do a make of Toyota Camry 2020. And now we have to make another constructor because Java is mad. But what this does is, hey, we have a Toyota Camry. We need to make a car. So instead, we'll make it a different way. Or what we could do is just delete this in its entirety. And then what we'll do is, because it's getting mad here, we're going to say, hey, this is instead a car. Let's see, we're going to make this car a car of Toyota Camry 2021. And now what this is going to do, it's going to have the same variables of the Toyota Camry, and we can see that the make on the Toyota Camry is the Toyota. This is getting mad right here. It's because we have a car with no constructors. So what we're going to do instead is we can create another constructor. We'll make a public car, and let's see, we're not going to do anything. And now, hey, that error is gone because we have a constructor that doesn't ask for anything. The interesting thing with this is we can go static car, and let's just forward escape is equal to new car. And now what you can see is we have this and this right here. These are the two constructors that we've made, and sorry, you can't see that under the tab, but it says no parameter or string make, string model, and integer year. So we can use either of those constructors. In this case, we can just make it with nothing, or we can go forward, escape 2022. So that's the basic way on how to make classes, how classes work in general, and constructors. But you may be asking, hey, why would I ever want to use this? And I'll explain that later with hardware devices, hardware configurations, all that kind of stuff. But now, let's go into a little bit more of the niche things. So let's say in learning, all right, we have this function. Let's go double B is equal to whatever this function outputs. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna say string x is equal to, let's say B is equal to, and then we go $, curly bracket, B. Alright. And that's obviously wrong because it's not doing anything. But if we just did it this way, it wouldn't actually do anything. Another way we can do it is we can do plus B dot to string. And basically what this will do is it'll call whatever this toString method for B is. Show string interpolation. So instead we're going to do string interpolation. So we're going to go string y is equal to string.format b is equal to %.2f b. Okay, so what this does, it's a little bit confusing, but this %.2f is able to format it. So it's going to take the first parameter, which is b, it's going to input it into here and format it to 2 decimal points. So that's kind of a lot, but the other way you can do it, string z, string of b is equal to b plus b, and because of this, we're going to have to do a new instance because we just made a new string. Another way to do this is just like this. So in this case, we're just using the %f as we've seen up here and interpreting b for this. So that's going to be my tutorial on the advanced topics of Java. I hope this was helpful. Thank you.